The fifth, government's macroeconomic objective, which is about balance of payment stability. So, just to tell what this is about is every country produces a balance of payment statement. ये एक स्टेटमेंट होती है जिसमें कंट्री की जितने भी इनफ्लोज ऑफ पैसा एंड आउटफ्लोज ऑफ पैसा वो रिकॉर्ड करते हो आप, ठीक है, होम कंट्री की ट्रांजैक्शंस विद इंटरनेशनल कंट्रीज. एंड ऑब्वियसली the money comes in and goes out officially for many reasons, and government feels it's important for them to keep an eye on it कि कितना पैसा आ रहा है, कितना पैसा जा रहा है, और किन वजह से आ रहा है और किस वजह से जा रहा है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, whenever we export, the good goes out, the money comes into the country. That's called an inflow. It's a positive recording on the balance of payment. But whenever we import, the money goes out and the good comes in. When the money goes out, हम उसको negative record करते हैं, outflow. Okay? Now, for an economy जिसके अंदर पैसा circulation में होता है, एवरी टाइम यू एक्सपोर्ट, उस सर्कुलेशन में नया पैसा जब आता है तो देर इज मोर मनी इन द कंट्री, एंड मोर मनी मीन्स मोर स्पेंडिंग ऑन गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज, एंड दैट्स गुड. You understand that? It's good. When money comes into the economy, more money comes into the economy, that's good. But due to import, whenever the money leaves our economy, there is less money in the country, and that's bad for transactions and economic growth. So, this balance of payment records all the inflows and outflows, and we try to balance it off. We don't want too much money to go out. We don't want too much money to come into the country also. We want a balanced situation. So, in this topic, first we're going to deal with some basics about the balance of payment, and then we will look at the positives and the negatives of having these accounts, and then eventually we will see what the government is trying to do. Why are they trying to stabilize it? All right, so let's write. So first, let's just explain what is the balance of payment. So we say, I'll be writing BOP for it. So a balance of payment is a financial statement that records all monetary transactions of a country with the rest of the world. With the rest of the world, जितने भी inflows हैं, okay, you follow the money. Inflows are recorded as positive, और अकाउंटिंग टर्म्स के अंदर वी से वी क्रेडिट द एंट्री. And outflows are treated as negative entries, and they are debited. Inflows are positive, outflows are negative. Now, when we're going to study the balance of payments properly, we're going to see more stuff. But for now, what you have to keep an eye on is, so when we're constructing a balance of payment statement for any given period of time, I mentioned that there are various reasons why the money comes in and goes out. We break the balance of payment into three major accounts. One is called the current account. The second one is the capital account. And the last one is the financial account. Now, all kinds of reasons. So, in your course in O levels, there is a lot of importance to the current account. The other two will be discussed in the AS levels of economics. So, in the current account, when we're constructing a current account, this is usually out of the three accounts, current account has the biggest values. And whichever direction the current account goes, your entire balance of payment tends to be in that result, positive or negative. So current account के अंदर चार main subheadings हैं. Number one, it's about the trade in goods. Trade in goods is basically dealing with exports minus the imports of goods. And when we say goods, you will or you might come across them calling them visible. These are physical goods like merchandise. You can touch them, you can feel them, you can see them. Like it might be garments, mobile phones, markers, books. These are all visible goods. तो इनकी वैल्यूज़ को आप एक्सपोर्ट माइनस इंपोर्ट करके जो भी रिजल्ट आता है यू रिकॉर्ड दैट. The second thing, the second account in the current account is called the trade in services. Services, you might come across them calling it as invisibles. They don't have a physical form. You cannot touch them. You can see them. जैसे कि बैंकिंग हो गया, टूरिज्म हो गया, एजुकेशन हो गया. These are all services. और इन services के अंदर again exports minus the imports. Now, for example, if a Pakistani goes abroad, like to US for traveling, okay, so tourism is a service. But the thing is, would we say we've exported this or have we imported this? So basically what you do is you follow the money. If a Pakistani is going abroad, that means the money is going out, and we know import mein the money goes out. Similarly, if someone in a foreign country comes to Pakistan to study, education hai, service hai, and he brings in the money with him, so that means ye Pakistan export kar raha hai education ki service. That's why the money is coming in. Export causes inflows, right? So our second account, all kinds of service related inflows and outflows will be recorded in trade in service. Our third account is called net transfer. नेट ट्रांसफ़र्स के अंदर जितना भी पैसा इनफ्लो हो रहा है और जितना भी आउटफ्लो हो रहा है, यू नेट इट. अब ये जो नेट ट्रांसफ़र्स है, नेट ट्रांसफ़र्स आर बेसिकली द फ्री मनी कमिंग इनटू द कंट्री एंड गोइंग आउट एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ से गिफ्ट, donation or charity, something like that. The country did not earn this. Okay, the country did not earn this. We got this money for free. And lastly, the fourth account is net incomes. Now, this is the money that you've earned. इसमें भी you look at all the inflows and you subtract all the outflows from it. इसके reasons could be things like if your country you have given loan to somebody, if you've received it, it will be an inflow. If you had to pay back, it will be an outflow. It could be dividends on shares. Like for example, I'm in Pakistan and I invest in Google shares in the New York Stock Exchange in the US. Now, when I will do the investment, the money will go out. But later on, when Google will make profit and they will give me dividends, that will be an inflow into the country. उसको हम नेट इनकम्स में रिकॉर्ड करेंगे. जो इन्वेस्टमेंट मैंने की थी वो करंट अकाउंट में नहीं जाती, वो फाइनेंशियल अकाउंट में रिकॉर्ड होती है. बट वी आर नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट फाइनेंशियल अकाउंट एंड यू विल नॉट कम अक्रॉस क्वेश्चंस इन ओ लेवल्स टू डील विद द फाइनेंशियल अकाउंट्स. Now let's take a look at if there were numbers, then how would it work? Imagine they would have said that the country is exporting $500 million worth of goods. Okay, you are exporting $500 million worth of goods. So since it's exports, the money is coming into the country. I will do it like a positive transaction. And imagine we are importing goods worth of 300 million. Inflow or an outflow. So when we import, the money goes out, so you have to do in negative. हमारे पास रिजल्ट क्या आया कि ट्रेड इन गुड्स के अंदर ओवरऑल वी हैव ए पॉजिटिव 200 million as inflow. Financially, that's a good thing. Similarly, in services, let's assume we had numbers like we were exporting $200 worth of exports in services while we were importing 300 million worth of imports. So in terms of services, there is more money going out than coming into the country. You follow? So as a result of this, so far अगर मैं trade in goods and services को net करता हूँ तो what I see is 100 million worth of money is still coming into the country. जब हम trade in goods और trade in service की values को add करते हैं together, it is called trade in balance. You keep a close eye on this term, ट्रेड इन बैलेंस, क्योंकि जब हम ट्रेड इन बैलेंस बोलते हैं तो इसका मतलब है कि मैंने एक्सपोर्ट एंड इंपोर्ट ऑफ गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज दोनों को नेट कर लिया है. So make sure that you keep an eye on these terms, that whether they're asking for trade in goods, trade in service, or trade in balance, which is an accumulation of the two. फिर उसके बाद you have money coming in and going out in terms of gifts, charities and donation. इसके अंदर let's say the money coming in was 50, the money going out was say 20. So as a result, overall the money coming in is another 30. और फिर inflows and outflows के अंदर, giving rough numbers, this is about 60 and the money going out is about 80 in terms of investment. Let's say you have a negative 20. Now so far current account के हिसाब से this is the amount of money coming into the country and going out. When we add all these together, trade in goods, trade in service, net incomes, net transfers, minus will be subtracted and plus will be added. And when I see my result, I get $110 million. And since it is positive, the statement that I would say or suggest over here is that in my current account balance, because it's a positive value, I have a surplus. Surplus tells me that there is inflow which is greater than outflows. That's a positive thing. If the case was that inflow is less than outflow, we would definitely have a negative result, and that is called a deficit in your current account. If the inflow was equals to outflow, the money coming in is equals to the money going out, we would call it a balance. We try to go for balance. We don't want surplus, although surplus is not bad. You can have surplus. You should not have issues with surplus. But you definitely have issue with deficits. We're going to talk about that in a bit. Government is trying to achieve a balance of payment. Stability is what they want. So let's see why they want stability. So the thing is, if you have a balance of payment, in fact, let me write, if you have a current account deficit, meaning the inflows are less than outflows, more money is going out than coming in to the economy. So as far as the money goes, it's going out. You will have to give the money from your accounts, from your economy, and that money is going to leave the country, leaving lesser money. So what's so bad in that? So in fact, what we're dealing with is the problems of current account deficit. Number one, the inflows is less than the outflows. So as a result of this, we say क्योंकि inflows कम है और outflows ज़्यादा है, that puts a pressure on country's foreign exchange value to fall down. What that means is worsening of value. Since we haven't dealt with foreign exchanges yet, I'm not going to be using the terms like devaluation or depreciation. But if more money is going out of the country, that is going to hurt our foreign exchange value. The details will be dealt with later on. Number two, if more money is going out, you have to pay for it. So country will have to take loans from foreign country to pay for extra imports, and this will increase a country's interest payments, and that's bad. It's going to put pressure on the country that, oh, you have to pay. Like, for example, Pakistan. In Pakistan, unfortunately, since we're taking so much loans from IMF for such a long time, the more loans we take, the more interest we have to pay every year. And where will that interest payments come from? You will have to tax your people more in order to pay these creditors back. So obviously that is going to be bad for the country. So since more money is going out, since money is leaving the country, then less money is available in the country for transactions, and this will result in shrinking of economy and therefore reduce people's living standard. So now we suggest how we can solve the problem of deficit. Very important. So to solve the problem of deficit, what we're trying to do is we want to create more inflow than outflow. So we want to encourage export and discourage imports. To encourage exports, what we can do is we can provide subsidies to industries that exports and create inflow in the future and create inflows in the future. इससे एक्सपोर्ट बढ़ सकता है. Secondly, if you're not able to increase the export, what you can do immediately is You can protect the domestic markets from imports. Protect the domestic market from imports. How can we do that? Well, there are ways to do it. You have like tariffs, duties, quotas. International trade में we're going to have a much more larger discussion on this with diagrams and stuff. But at least imports भी कम होने से आपका outflow constraint हो जाएगा, restrict हो जाएगा. That can play a positive role. Or you can even encourage consumers to buy domestic goods. इससे भी imports कम हो जाएंगे. नंबर 4, क्योंकि करंट अकाउंट के अंदर नेट ट्रांसफर्स भी है, सो यू मे वांट टू इनकरेज overseas citizens to send remittances into the country. A lot of Pakistanis go to UAE to work, USA to work, and then they send that money to their families in the country. So as a result, a lot of money can come into the country, remittances get through, and that can reduce the pressure of money going out. And this has been happening in Pakistan for the last couple of months. We've had record amount of money coming into the country because we made एक तो money laundering को, हवाला system को, we had a crackdown on that. So the money is not coming easy through illegal channels. The official channels say the money is coming into the country by overseas Pakistanis, and that inflow is solving our problem of money going out.